Jay Bugg, absolute pleasure to speak to you as always, especially when we can see the logo on the front of your shirt there,
yeah.
Proudly wearing it. Representing us in Notting Hill at the minute. What a fantastic location for this interview. You live around the corner, I understand?
Yeah, I live around here, yeah. It's I like it around here, it's nice, and feels more like a neighbourhood than a big city, and I like that.
Renting a place, you tell me, because you're not quite sure when you first moved down whether or not you'd fancy living here long term. How do you find it compared with Notts?
Yeah, it's very different to Notts. I think London's very different to the rest of the country, to be honest. And I never saw myself living in London, but for me, it's just handy because it's so close to the airport, and usually I'm flying around and stuff everywhere, so it's handy for that. And but yeah, I like it here. It's cool.
As you say, you have been flying around recently, haven't you? What's just to sum up the last few months for you personally?
Last few months been pretty busy. Done a lot of festivals this year around Europe, and I've been making an album out in America in Nashville, and went to shoot a video in LA the other day. So not as heavy as it usually is in the year, but it's nice. It's spread out a bit more, and but I got a tour later in the year, so I think that'll be a bit more intense, I think.
Heard a few tracks from the new album at the acoustic set you played at Meadow Lane very, very recently. Sounded good. What did you think of the experience?
I thought it was great. I think it's always a bit nerve-wracking to go into those kind of small rooms and play in front of people that are watching so intently. It's puts you on edge a little bit, but it's also fun as well because it's intimate and you get to have a real chat with the crowd and kind of just play kind of whatever you feel like really as well at the same time. So I loved it. I thought it was great, and I had a really fun night and a really fun time playing as well.
Had a bit of a whistle-stop tour of the stadium, didn't you? All the new facilities down in the dressing room and things like that. What do you make of the place as a whole at the minute?
Yeah, I think it's amazing. I think even to the state of the pitch looks amazing as well, and I think I had a little chuckle to myself in the dressing room when I was holding the shirt up, thinking that I'd signed, and having a little laugh to myself, and it was amazing. I think it's I think it must be really exciting to be playing for the club and to feel so at home when you go there as well.
I think you clearly felt at home while you were there. I think the likes of Kevin Nolan, the manager, made you feel really, really welcome. It must have been a tremendously enjoyable evening for you, all in all.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was a good laugh, and Kevin was really nice, and kind of interrogated me about if I really was a Notts County fan or not, and which was funny, and he's only been there a year or so. But yeah, it was great, and to go there and to be welcomed by your club and the club you support, and it means a lot to you. It's a very nice feeling.
It was coincidental in a way, wasn't it? Because it didn't necessarily tie in with the fact that you're one of our new shirt sponsors, because that was a gig for Amnesty International, a really, really good cause. But it was also very, very close to the point where you do get your opportunity to be on the front of our shirts. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, I think I spoke about it in a recent interview with you guys. That I saw it come up in the Evening Post about it's they were doing this new marketing strategy, which I thought was a great idea, and I wanted to be involved and part of it, not to be on the shirt or anything like that, just to help the club in any way I can and be part of it all, really.
It's interesting that you mentioned that you saw it in the Post, because a lot of people would assume that it was your manager or somebody who works alongside you that thought that's a really interesting marketing opportunity for you, but clearly it's more than that for you personally.
Yeah, absolutely. No, for me it wasn't. I'm not somebody who goes out and is looking for publicity or anything like that. For me, all it was about was it just seemed like an opportunity to help the club because they wanted sponsors, and and I didn't even have to be asked to want to do it. It's just something that I was really excited about.
As you just revealed to us, Kevin Nolan was giving you a bit of an interrogation as to your true Notts passion. Where did it first originate from?
I think it first originated. I remember the first match I ever went to of any game was a Notts County game, and I think I've been seeing loads of different teams. When you're young, you just want to go see all the top teams. But the first game I ever went to was a Notts County game. I can't remember who we played against, but I just remember I think we were thrashing this team because everyone just stood up all around me. I was like 3 or 4 years old, and I couldn't understand why. I just loved the excitement, and from them I think my love for football was embedded in my blood, I think.
Do you still get that buzz from going to games? Do you get an opportunity to go to games and experience that atmosphere, even with the lifestyle you lead now?
Not so much because I'm never really back in knots, and whenever I am, usually playing away, I find, and but now when I'm away, it's great because you can watch the app when you're abroad and stuff. So that's amazing and really handy for me. So I get to see my team play some weekends, which is really nice. And I want to go to a game soon. And but also I think there's a few teams in our league that live around here as well, which I'm able to catch. And me and my bass player, we always go and see Notts County Wycombe Wanderers because that's where he's from every year. So that's pretty cool.
It's a nice tradition to uphold. You mentioned there the app.
Hopefully not next year though.
Well, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. I presume you're wishing success to Notts, not Wycombe's demise there into the national league.
Yeah.
You mentioned there the app. It's been revolutionary for our supporters because obviously we have with the Italian Magpies and the Brazilian Magpies and all these different supporter groups we have overseas. It's got an opportunity for them to watch games live, and that's something that you've taken advantage of too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think that app's wicked. I kind of surprised I didn't know about it before, but I also think I was trying to get my bass player to get the Wycombe one because he's got it's that I follow one as well. So it's amazing. They're cool little apps, and you got all the interviews here with the players and all the stuff you never get to see in after the match, and I guess you're doing the interviews as well. So it's not like Kevin or whoever's not talking to someone they don't want to, so well, I don't know, but I think it's great. You get to listen to the live commentary and watch the game. It's brilliant. I love it.
You mentioned earlier you don't get back to Notts much. Well, what's that like? Because clearly you take inspiration musically in a way with some of your lyrics and stuff. You hark back to Notts and you've got a massive affinity to your hometown club. What's it like not to get back home that much?
It's kind of okay. I'm kind of used to it, and ever since I was young and I decided this is what I was going to do, was I was prepared to be away and to be away as much as I could from my hometown, really, because I wanted to see the world, and I've got to see it. But I miss my friends and stuff, and I like going back home, and to my estate there's always a bit of an edge there as well, which brings you back down, which is nice.
Yeah. Well, how do people deal with you on the estate when they see you? Are you treated like you were when you were a lad growing up there, or is there a sense of, Jake Bugg, the music star?
To be honest, I just usually bang a tracksuit on and stick my hood up, and no one knows any different. And it's usually you always get like seen when you're with your mates or something, they're like, "Oh, Jazz," and then you call them over, and then it's always on. My mum wants a CD signing. I'm like, all right, mate, yeah. So.
Brilliant. When you came to the boardroom, it was noticeable that you had a few of your really close mates with you there. Nottingham lads, Clifton lads, I believe, or Meadows, that sort of area. You keep them close?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, my drummer Jack, he's from Woollerton, and my mate Jazz, he's from Clifton. So yeah, I keep him close, and sometimes I'll take him if I've got a few shows in Europe. I'll take him on tour. I take him to Paris and stuff like that, and then and I kind of feel a bit bad because I kind of have to leave them and they have to go live there, and then their lives with their jobs and stuff, and so I give them a bit of taste of what it's like for me, and then they go back to their lives. But it's great, it's always nice for me to have those people around, and so you can get a bit lonely on the road sometimes.
Yeah, I can imagine. And I think one of the conversations I remember overhearing between you and Kev at the boardroom gig was you trying to convince him of your prowess with the football from when you were a youngster. Presumably a lot of those balls were kicked in and around Clifton. What are your memories of starting to kick a football?
Yeah, I probably bored him to death with my football stories, didn't I? Well, I don't know where it came from really, because no one in my family really played or anything. Me and my cousin Grant Buggy, it was just me and him who really used to play, and I just always loved it. I used to love watching football, and I used to play for a local side in Clifton called South Church Colts, and then I played for Nottingham City Boys as well, and so I don't know where it came from really. I just always loved football, and I always did. I just around 12, 13 I picked up a guitar, and that became priority really.
So that's what my next question was going to be. Where did it come? Because clearly you were a talented footballer playing for City Boys and things like that, but clearly music took the edge for you. What was the turning point? Can you remember?
Yeah, I remember I came home from football training actually once, and my uncle was just there with a guitar, and he was like, "Oh yeah, try this out." And I think he thought it was just going to gather dust in the corner, but I loved it. I just couldn't put it down, and I don't know why. And that just became life, and I kind of stopped playing football, which I'm actually a bit upset about, because I remember like my last game for City Boys, I think I went up the programme and I had the number 10 shirt, and I was in the starting lineup, which I was pretty happy about, and then yeah, but music just kind of took over really, and that was that. So.
Talking about music, I'm personally a little bit out of my comfort zone, because as you touched on earlier, I'm used to interviewing football managers and footballers, so forgive me if it's a strange question, but to me music seems to be an instinctive talent, and it seems that you picked it up quite late. And did you just feel that something clicked for you with music?
Well, there's a lot of it in my family, to be honest. My cousin had a band, and his dad, my uncle, had a band, and my mum and dad were singers as well, so it was always in the family and stuff. I just kind of took a different direction in terms of genre. I love the blues and country music and stuff like that, and so I kind of pursued that area. But so it was always in the family. I think it was always kind of going to happen, probably, but you never know, really.
Presumably you had to do the circuit in knots. You had to play pubs, clubs, bars, restaurants, maybe even anywhere, street corners. Are there any particular gigs, any busking sessions, anything that you remember from around the city especially?
I never did any busking or anything like that. I always felt a bit too nervous, and so I remember I played quite a few. I remember playing like shows like the Maze was cool, and that's a good place to. They always gave like new bands and new artists opportunities to play in front of a room, even if there was no one there, which was still cool. And you got the rescue rooms. I remember playing like Rock City Basement. I was like 15, and some of the smaller cafes like Alley Caf and places like that. So from the age of 15, I was doing a lot of shows around Nottingham. Really.
Some really iconic spots in Nottingham. There's Bodega as well, places like that, yeah. Live venues. Are you proud of Nottingham's musical heritage?
Yeah, I think. I certainly think there's a real taste for music in Nottingham, and there's a lot of cool bands out there, and young ones as well. I just feel like it's hard to when you're all working lads, and and you've all got jobs and families and stuff like that. It can be hard to kind of have a band and stuff like that and find a time to rehearse, and I think that can be hard. For a lot of groups, but I still think there's a great level of music in Nottingham, I think.
How much of a competitive field is trying to break through music in Notts?
I think it's very competitive. I remember when I was 15, 16, I was very competitive too. I remember there was like I think that maybe comes from the football days, I don't know, but I've always had it. It's like if I saw a band head higher up than me on the bill, I'd be like, next year I'm going to be higher than you. But I remember everyone getting signed around me. I was like, where's my record deal? I want a record deal. So there is that competitiveness, but I think it's good. I think as long as it's healthy, it's good, because it pushes other bands to try and better one each other, and then everyone just improves. And I think that was always the case in the 60s when you had people like The Who and Jimi Hendrix. They were always arguing about who was going to go out on stage first and stuff, and it just makes you, I think that competitiveness makes you improve, I think.
You mentioned earlier the nervousness of performing in the boardroom, where you can see the whites of everybody's eyes, and people who are clearly massive Jake Bugg fans only there for you in a very cramped sort of environment. And then I guess you've got the other extreme, which is festivals, where people are there to see a plethora of different acts and have obviously taken an interest in you to come to your stage. But I just wonder, what are your favourite gigs to perform?
My favourite gigs to perform, I've had loads of great ones. I think my favourite this year is probably Boardmasters. That was I didn't even think anyone was going to be there, because I think Jamiroquai was headlining at the same time I was playing, and so I honestly thought no one was going to come, and I got out there and they were all chanting to the Star Wars theme tune, the evil one, which was pretty intense, and I was going to go out and play an acoustic song first, and like my band and guitar tech was like, "Are you sure you want to start with that?" And I didn't even think about it. I just went out and did it, but then the rest of the gig was just amazing, and it blew my mind. And then I played in Japan, and where they'll all clap after you play in sync, and then they'll just all stop clapping in sync and be dead quiet, and that's really strange and intense and amazing. And so there's loads of amazing shows I've been lucky enough to play, so it's always hard to pick what your favourite is, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose for English music fans, the fact you played Glastonbury is a huge achievement as well. It must have been a fantastic experience for you. That was
also one of my favourite shows. Headlining the other stage, I think it was 2014, I think, and I was clashing with Metallica that year, which I was annoyed about because I was the only person I wanted to see as well, the only band I wanted to see. But it was cool because we did a festival in Holland and Metallica played I think 1 or 2 slots after us, headlining again. And then a big thunderstorm happened. It was just pretty apt for when Metallica go on, and there was all this thunder happening, and we were just on the bus hiding from the rain, but you could hear everything. It was amazing. It was brilliant.
Fantastic. Well, coming back to Knots, obviously the reason we're speaking to you is because of the shirt sponsorship deal. I just wonder, that first game, no matter where you are in the world, no matter where you are performing, how much pride will you have that we've got your name on our shirts?
Well, I'm a bit nervous, to be honest, because if we lose that month, I don't want anyone thinking I've jinxed it. It's just a shirt. It's just a shirt. No, not really. But so I want them to do well every month, not just that month. But it's great, you know. It's a club that I love, and the fact that I can I can play FIFA with my name on the shirt is pretty cool as well.
And how great is it that one month we've got Jake Bugg, and then another month, with all due respect, we've got Bassingfield Woodyard on the front, you know, a company that makes wood and distributes it around the area. What an amazing adventure this whole shirt sponsorship thing is in bringing everything that's great about Nottingham together.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think that is an excellent point. I think about you know, it's all like local businesses and partnerships, and I think that's amazing. I think you know, I think anything I was really I thought the whole marketing strategy of getting other people involved was really great, and that was something I wanted to back, more the idea more than anything. I'd never really seen another club or heard of another club doing that, and so it's kind of the idea I wanted to back more than anything and support it and see how it goes.
And generally, you know, if you speak to any Notts fan, I think you'll find that they're really, really pleased with how things have been going since the new owner came in, Alan Hardy, and obviously Kevin as well, who you've both met now. You know, from your sort of slightly distant but still very interested point of view, you know, what would you say about the club at this point in time?
Well, from what I saw, just being around there for the day and playing, I felt like everyone was really happy. There was a good atmosphere around the club, and from an outsider's point of view, I think things are going very well, and I think the fact that, you know, still top of the league this week is a real sign of that, I think. And but you know, that's all I can say from how I see it. But everything feels and looks really good, I think.
And from your point of view as a supporter, how do you want this season to end? What are your expectations?
If you could finish anywhere mid-table, I'd be very happy. I'm not one of these fans that just want instant success.
And presumably to help nurture Kevin Nolan, who signed a new contract earlier this year and is clearly a very talented manager.
Definitely, yeah, and I think you know, from after meeting him, I think he's just very an inspirational character. Just gets you going and gets people motivated, I think, and he's a good laugh, and I think he's great for any team, I think.